Hi everybody, so today we're gonna go over part 5, how to eat, since a lot of us always have that question, what do I eat? A diet high in refined grains like processed foods is the biggest nutritional contributor to diabetes in China. If our food system makes people so sick that their healthcare costs bankrupt global economies and destroys our topsoil such that we can effectively no longer produce food, then it's unsustainable, which is something that we have. We firmly believe that a sustainable food system is one that can both feed the population as well as stand the rest of time, which is something, again, we don't have. Researchers found that we're doing really good at carbohydrate production. That's your soy, your corn, your alfalfa, all the things that you see in the fields. Not as well with protein and other macronutrients. Our success with carbohydrates, however, has had a serious downside, a worldwide plague of obesity, diabetes, and other diet-related diseases. To shift our discussion on food security from calories to nutrient security means we have to seriously question how we are to provide some of the most critical nutrients. The households with the highest carbon footprints were ones that consumed more fish, vegetables, alcohol, and sugary foods, and ate out at restaurants most often. Meat consumption was much lower as a contributor compared to the most glaring offender, which was eating out. Meat-inclusive diets, be they low-fat or low-carb, showed a reversal of insulin resistance and type 2 diabetes, so long as folks reduce their consumption of refined foods as well. Animals play an important role in all regenerative food systems as well as healthy diets for humans. The goal should be to help local farmers and ranchers learn to care for their land in a way that will result in healthy food and best agricultural practices. We can produce more nutrient-dense food this way instead of everything in moderation. We see that a lot when it comes to dieting, everything in moderation. It's time that we start recognizing that obesity in the West is the result of quick, convenient, and cheap. Shopping locally and supporting food producers who are doing it right is not only healthier and better for the environment, but it also is going to support your local economy. So go find those farmers markets, people. As we have said, there isn't just one specific macronutrient ratio, ideal food, or way of eating for all humans. We recommend buying the best produced food you have access to, whatever that may be. This book recommends the Nutrivore Challenge. So what the Nutrivore Challenge and all of the other plans have in common is prioritizing protein to avoid ravenous hunger and reducing your intake of highly processed foods, which are really easy to overeat. This is not intended for individuals with eating disorders, just so you know, for whom everything in moderation may actually be the best advice. For the rest of us, the advice of everything in moderation can often lead to overconsumption of hyper-palatable, ultra-processed foods. Eggs from pasteurized chicken are actually worth the extra money because their fats are significantly better than industrial-raised chicken eggs. We see many people avoiding roots and tubers while on a paleo diet because they are trying to reduce their carb intake. Carbs do have benefits such as lowering cortisol, which is your stress, fueling high glycemic workouts such as like CrossFit or HIIT, and acting like a prebiotic in your intestines by feeding your good bacteria. If animal flesh is completely off the table, shoot for eggs from pasture-raised chickens and fermented dairy products from grass-fed cows like cheese and yogurt. Compared to the Nutrivore breakfast, most American breakfasts are low in fat, low in protein, and high in carbs. Eating this way in a fasted state, so first thing in the morning, can set a person up for a blood sugar roller coaster. Remember, just because a food is considered okay for the Nutrivore diet doesn't mean that you are free to eat 10 pounds of bacon at each meal or chase each snack with a gallon of coconut milk. Athletes should naturally consume more starchy vegetables like roots, carrots, and parsnips, and tubers, potatoes, and sweet potatoes. The macronutrient combination and calorie load that works for a 25-year-old athlete may not work for a 55-year-old recovering from hip surgery. It's best to consider your weight loss goals, stress level, and activity level. For weight loss, consider consuming the bulk of your daily starch intake in a post-workout meal. That way, it's going right into recovery instead of being stored as fat. The idea is that the carbs alone or fat alone are not necessarily going to spark overeating. However, the magical combination of carbs plus fat seems to be an unnaturally winning combination to our brain circuits. Most hyperpalatable junk food is this combo. So like think about potato chips, it's your carb plus your fat. It's hard to overeat plain boiled potatoes, but fry them in oil. Many people can crush a whole bag in one sitting. Some of the most hyperpalatable foods include mashed potatoes with butter, chocolate chips, potato chips, custard, French toast, waffles, blueberry muffins, hash browns, garlic bread, and human breast milk. Remember, you shouldn't feel hungry, but it's also not ideal to eat past capacity. Follow your hunger cues. Follow your hunger cues. Okay, if you have any questions, leave a comment below.